You have heard today what I believe is the only example of Jesus presenting for our imitation a dishonest man. You may wonder, why would Jesus do that? A dishonest steward is held up for our emulation. The answer is he wasn't holding them up before us because of his dishonesty, but because of his ingenuity in providing for himself. Master, I should say, the steward wrote off part of the debts of several people who owed their master, his master, a certain amount of money or goods. And Jesus made a point that here's a man who knows the value of things and works to provide for his own welfare. The key is this: would that the children of God, the honest people of God, would do the same would have the same kind of attitude when it comes to promoting the kingdom of God through the use of the gifts that we have. People can take for granted different things. Now, what are some of the gifts that we have? One of the gifts that is perhaps often overlooked by people is the gift of time. The thing about time is, if we lose time, we'll never get it back. We could lose money, we can lose goods, and make them up at some point in the future. Time, though, is something that once lost, we can never get it back. Time is a gift. Time indicates that there is a certain urgency to our service of God and others. We only have a certain amount of time within which to work out our fulfillment as people of God. Time is a gift. How do we use our time? I have heard over the years people tell me that they do not have time to pray. There are 24 hours in a day, 168 hours in a week. We don't have time. What it really means is that we can let things crowd out opportunities that we should be making, spend time with God. Something to think about. Pope Francis, to use as one example, prays every day 15 decades of the Rosary. Now, 15 decades of the Rosary, which means going around the loop 3 times, praying all the prayers, meditating on the mysteries, will take most people about an hour. Pope Francis, additionally, as all clerics of the Catholic Church do, at least priests and bishops, prays the Liturgy of the Hours, or the Breviary of the Divine Office. Some lay people pray it. The whole of the Divine Office take the better part of an hour. So Pope Francis prays 2 hours, plus he probably visits the Blessed Sacrament, the spiritual reading, and celebrates Mass every day. We're talking about a good portion of his day dedicated to prayer. Now, mind you, he's not living in a cloister. He has a full schedule, meetings, and other things that do require his time and energy. So why am I saying these things? Someone could say, well, Father, he should be doing those things. He's the Pope. And I would agree with you 100%. But we cannot simply allow only the so-called professionals, the specialists, people in positions of responsibility in the church, to do the praying. Every one of us is given time for good reason. We were born into the world at a certain time, a certain set of parents, because this is what God wanted. And our days are numbered. what do we do to apply ourselves to making the most of our time such that when this life is over, we will be received by God into his mansions, that is to say, the heavenly dwelling place. Something to think about. We also have as resources that we can use to put toward our eternal welfare such things as eating and drinking, which might sound very strange to say. What in the world do these things have to do with our eternal salvation? St. Paul says, whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, whatever it is, do it for the glory of God. It means to say that we have many opportunities to give God glory. Now, what does that mean regarding eating and drinking? The thing is this: we don't live to eat. Our emphasis should be on allowing ourselves to be sustained in our health. I know there are people who have doctors who tell them that they should stay away from things, and they don't. People can develop very bad habits. Americans are the most well-fed people on the planet, and it's a gift to have a plentiful food supply. But we have to understand that in order for us to be good servants of God, we can't take for granted things that have been given to us. And eating and drinking is a necessary part of life, but it's to help. These things are to help us to live so that we can serve God. They're not ends in themselves. So we must always keep that in the forefront of our mind. Are we compromising our health for some reasons connected with poor diet? It's something to ask. I don't mean to be disrespectful of anyone. Everyone should ask a question. It's very, very important. I remember for the number of years I lived with a priest who did not take care of himself, and the poor man was living with a number of diseases. And we don't have complete control over our health. I'm not suggesting that. But he had a number of diseases that were connected with very poor habits, especially in terms of what he ate and drank. How can a person be a good servant of God if he allows his health to be impaired? I mean, it's a question. We should always put things in that context. Our culture has a cult of clothing. Now, mind you, we need clothing. There's no question about that. But people can be motivated on the basis of buying clothes that make some kind of a statement. Think about other parts of the world where people don't have much to begin with. And we have people in our society who are buying clothes to make a statement. That's the basis for the whole designer clothing industry. People want to make statements. And we have to think about this. Is it really a justice to be motivated to make some kind of a statement, spend all of the money that these things cost? It could be helping people in need rather than making a statement. And again, I say this with all humility. I don't want to offend anyone, but it's a question that should be asked. We should not accept our culture's standards uncritically. As Catholic people, we have to be free from being prisoners of our culture. And our culture has strange ideas about clothes. Sometimes people's motivation for clothing is to be provocative or suggestive. Again, this is not motivated by belief, motivated by unbelief, motivated by worldly thinking on the part of the so-called fashion industry. Too many of our own people fall for this kind of stuff. We have to be very careful. We can't really serve the needs of the poor if we allow our money to be tied up in frivolity, which our culture encourages. Finally, but not least, Jesus talked more about use of material goods than he did about love. Think about that. When we think about Jesus, I could be wrong, but I would imagine that most people think about Jesus telling us about love of neighbor and so forth. But Jesus talked more about the stewardship of gifts than he did about love. But more about the use of material things. Because the way we use material things can have a determining effect on our eternal welfare. And so, we look, for example, in Matthew 25, the Last Judgment. This is the scene that Michelangelo painted on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, or on the wall of the Sistine Chapel. Whatever you did to the least ones, you did unto me. Meaning to say that feeding the poor, clothing the naked, giving food to the hungry, all of these things require a certain amount of investment. So, how do we make use of the goods that the Lord has given to us to assist others? Not only ourselves, but to assist those in need. I mean, it's a question. It's a very important question. No one can buy his way into heaven, and I'm not suggesting that. Sometimes people think that they can do that. I know examples of very wealthy people who thought that they could simply donate a great deal of money, even to the church, and that this would take care of certain defects in the way they're living. It doesn't work that way. On the other hand, we will be judged on the basis of what use we've made of our resources. The church, in her precepts, of which there are 6 precepts, these are basic requirements for Catholic people, includes the precept that we support the missions. Now, every year we have a mission appeal. A priest comes, gives a talk from Africa or India, whatever it might be. We talk about the school children in this country, about the pressing need for funds, the needs for the church in that particular part of the world. And the people respond. In fact, I'm very impressed. It's important also to understand that every parish, in a certain sense, is a mission, because it is in the parish church where most people are brought into the faith, formed in the faith, and taught. And of course, faith starts at home, but the presence of the local parish is very important. The most generous contributors in any parish are people who have a plan. They have a deliberate plan of giving. Ahead of time, they've already made their decision. They know what they're giving. And they're not really giving to a need as much as they are needing to give. A person who has the mentality of needing to give indicates a certain growth in faith, because faith means generosity. So it's important for us to think about that. We have many opportunities in life to make use of our gifts, time, the material goods that we have, and other things. Help other people in need, and to sustain ourselves for service to God and neighbor. We ask the Lord that we can indeed put to good use what He has given to us, not take anything for granted during the limited time that we have, to give Him glory, and to be a real asset to the kingdom that He came to found. It's the kingdom of justice, love, and peace.